This is Shir 37 in our series on Avodas Habitachon. In last night's Shir, we established the foundational distinction unraveled by the Yifam Mara regarding the parameters of savings. The standard obligation of Ishtalas dictates that a person is fully permitted and indeed required to execute regular physical preparations for long-term future, so as not to rely on open miracles. The strict rabbinic critique against storing provisions is targeted exclusively at internal emotional defect of being pained or anxiously distressed over tomorrow, which stands as a direct contradiction to authentic bitachon. To deepen this framework, we must introduce the commentary of the Perish Avodas Elio by Rabbi Yelo Cohen of Izmir, also known as the Sheva Musar, on the Yerushalmi. He notes a profound psychological phenomenon governing the Umas Olam, the nations of the world. Because the nations live entirely within the natural matrix, divorced from the conscious awareness of Hashgacha Pratis, they are structurally trapped in a perpetual fear. Even when their storehouses are completely filled with wheat and financial reserves to satisfy an entire year, their minds remain unanchored. They live with a volatile sense that their survival hangs in the balance. Rabbi kind of warns that this exact same reality targets Klal Yisrael if they fail to align themselves being Oisei Ritzon Shel Malkoim, doing the will of the omnipresent. When a Jew slips from the frequency of reliance, then storing up a year's worth of grain will not buy him emotional peace. He will remain consumed by chronic anxiety regarding the long-term future, which is the exact spiritual mechanics of the curse in Kisavoy, and your lives shall hang in doubt before you. He is trapped in the secular illusion of nature, constantly terrified of future scarcity and impending famine. Conversely, when a person walks in the will of Hashem with pristine bitachon, his heart is entirely liberated from eternal lack or deficiency. He lives in lockstep with the classical aphorism, Baruch Hashem Yoim Yoim, blessed Hashem day by day. He recognizes that there's a fresh dynamic blessing customized by Hashem for each single day, eliminating the psychological necessity to panic over tomorrow. This structural dynamic is powerfully verified by Rav Chaim Shmulevitz in Sichas Musar 5733 Maimar Yud. He analyzes the famous inquiry in the Gemara Yuma 76a, where the students ask Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, why did the mun not descend once a year in a single massive agricultural bounty, rather than falling in microscopic daily increments for 40 years? Shimon Bar Yochai responded with a powerful parable. A physical king had a son whom he provided with an entire year's worth of sustenance in a single instance. The immediate consequence was that the son only visited his father once a year, when his resources ran dry. The king shifted his strategy and provided the food strictly on a day-by-day basis. Out of sheer necessity, the son was forced to appear before his father every morning, ensuring he was constantly makabel pnei aviv, receiving his father's continence on a daily basis. Rav Chaim Shmulevitz identifies a glaring internal contradiction here. The curses in Kisavai explicitly dictates that having a single day's worth of food and living in constant uncertainty regarding tomorrow is a catastrophic klala, a curse. Yet the Gemara in Yuma presents this exact day-to-day dependency as an ultimate idealized spiritual pedagogy designed by Hashem for his most elite nation. Rav Chaim Shmulevitz delivers a definitive resolution. The curse of day-by-day living is fundamentally not defined by the physical situation of lacking financial savings or stored food. Rather, the curse is internal deficiency in Amunah that causes a person to worry about it. If a person has bread for today but melts with internal anxiety over tomorrow, they are living inside the curse. Even if they physically possess produce for a full year, the lack of faith will cause them to experience the fear of hand-to-mouth of volatility. However, if a person maintains absolute internal serenity, knowing flawlessly that Hashem provides daily, then day-by-day structure and sublime blessing of closeness, therefore long-term preparation is entirely meritorious, provided it's executed without internal worry. While the Ashkafa consensus permits physical savings, if done without anxiety, we must confront a highly formidable challenge leveled by the Zohar. This seems to be a massive contradiction of what we're saying. Parashat Beshalach 62a, explained through the lens of the Bir HaMusar Midvash, commenting on the pasuk, Hineni Mimata Lachem Lechem Min Shamayim. Behold, I will rain bread from the heaven. This pasuk is a pasuk in Parsha Mon, Parsha Pshalach. The Zohar binds the mechanics of the Mon directly to the daily decoration. In Ashrei, when we say Poiseach as Yedecha, Umasbia Lachol Chayritzoin, you open up your hand and satisfy the desire of every living being, every living thing. The Zohar analyzes the immediate prefix to that pasuk in Ashrei, Einei Chol Elecha Yisaberu. Sorry. The eyes of all look to you expectingly. This implies that the entire creation lifts its consciousness daily to receive sustenance. In addition, a person is required to request their basic livelihood inside the blessing of Shemei Tefillah in Shemai Esrei during the Shemai Esrei, creating an independent channel of alignment. So there's multiple times that you're supposed to ask for your sustenance on a daily basis. The Zohar uncovers a radical cosmic law. Every time a person makes a targeted daily request for their livelihood, they actively construct an Elon de Mazoine, a metaphysical tree of sustenance. By living in constant daily recognition, a person draws down completely customized fresh shefa engineered specifically for that day. Based on this, the Zohar issues a strict halachic prohibition. A person is fundamentally forbidden from cooking food from one day to the next, and one is entirely unauthorized to be withholding or storing and laying away food from today for tomorrow, except on Erev Shabbos for Shabbos. When Hashem observes that a person deliberately refuses to store food from from day to day because they are entirely reliant on Him, He is awakening a daily renewal of Shefa. The radical implication of the Zohar is that the actual physical act of appearing or holding resources for tomorrow is inherently problematic, completely independent of whether one feels anxious or calm. This radical Zoharic position is not merely an agadic stringency. It is explicitly codified in binding law by the Magen Avraham, Siman 157, Sif Katan 3, and the Mishnah Berurah, Siman 157, Sif Katan 4. The Mishnah Berurah writes explicitly that according to the Zohar in Parashat Beshalach, a person should not prepare their sustenance from one day to the next, nor store food away explicitly, so that an individual is forced to look up and request their mezonos from Hashem every single day, thereby triggering a fresh daily blessing. We find this uncompromising lifestyle modeled by leading giants of our tradition. The Rishash, for example, the Sefer Lev Chaim documents the famous Kabbalist Rav Sar Shalom Sharabi was meticulously makpid on this cosmic law. Every single morning, his household was commanded to bake an individual loaf and a cake strictly for that day's consumption, ensuring zero food carried over to the next day. The Brisker Rav, the Sefer Panini Agriz, records that during the height of World War II, Rav Yitzchak Zev Soloveitchik maintained this exact conduct. He commanded his son to venture out into the city every single day to purchase bread, intentionally refusing to buy in bulk, even though traversing the streets daily introduced an element of severe physical danger. The Brisker Rav refused to compromise on the Zoharic mandate of day-to-day reliance. This framework of absolute day-to-day immediacy is further advanced by the author of the Varek, Rav Yosef Yoel Horowitz, in Medregas Adam Darch Habitachon Parak 6. He analyzes the Torah's explicit command in Parshas Bahar regarding the agricultural cessation of Shemitah, V'chaltem l'savota v'yishavtem levetach aleo, and you shall eat to your fill and dwell securely upon it. The author uncovers that this text is issuing an ironclad warning, targeting the 6 years prior to Shemitah. A person is strictly forbidden from skimping, hoarding, or restricting their current consumption out of subconscious worry regarding the impending Shemitah year. You must eat normally l'savota, to your fill, today, completely banishing the anxiety of l'machar, of tomorrow. The Sefer Moritz Agadolim, page 149, documents that the author embodied this value with terrifying intensity. His bitachon was so radically absolute that he structurally banned his household from ever preparing any household needs or storing food for the following day. Even during periods of severe famine and complex societal crisis, he demanded literal day-by-day immediacy, constantly repeating the classic baseline, Al Teitzar Tzaras Machar, do not distress yourself over tomorrow's trouble. To conclude this advanced module We looked at the underlying source of the stringency inside the Mechilta, Parshas B'Shalach, Mesechta, V'yisa, Parsha 2, analyzed through the corrected textual girsa of the Gra and the commentary of Pirsha Har Ephraim. The Mechilta records an explicit structural debate regarding the verse Devar Yom B'Yoyma, the matter of the day on its day, when discussing the month. Rabbi Yeshua rules that a person is strictly forbidden from gathering provisions from today and tomorrow on the same calendar day. Rabbi Elazar Hamadai takes this a step further, dictating that even if an individual is physically gathering an amount that satisfies only a single day, but their internal intent is to store it away for tomorrow's use, for example, they do not need to eat today, that physical act remains completely prohibited. Rabbi Elazar Hamadai seals this argument with an unyielding metaphysical axiom. The one who engineered the specific day simultaneously engineered its custom parnasa. Again, the one who engineered the specific day today simultaneously engineered its custom parnasa for you. Hashem fuels reality in daily real-time bursts. Every moment is a new moment. Hashem fuels reality in a daily real-time burst. Therefore, human beings have no baseline right to hoard resources for tomorrow. He concludes with an identical formula used by Rabbi Eliezer Agadol, and we brought that out last year, declaring that anyone who possesses food from today and asks, what will I eat tomorrow, is characterized as being mechusar amuna, lacking in amuna. As Rav Chaim Pelagi notes in Birchas Amorach L'Chaim, this convergence of classical sources proves that according to the elite line of risk mitigation, the physical act of storing wealth or provisions ahead of time is inherently a spiritual infraction. In our upcoming shiur, we will begin to chart out how the classical commentators resolve this fierce tension between the Zohar's demands for total daily passivity and the Ramban's mandate for standard natural styles. Have a great evening.